What's up, guys? This is going to be just a little bit of a rant here. Don't mind my apartment, it's totally messy. Who cares? Um, Number one, they're trying to steal your guns. Okay? That's number one. If you don't realize that, then you're about to be a victim. You're going to be a victim if you have not figured that out yet. I was talking to a guy at my work the other day, and I was just asking him what his opinion was on the Second Amendment and stuff like that. And he said, he said, no, the government doesn't want to take your guns. They just want to know where they're at. Like, dude, really? Like, come on. I can't. Like, people actually think that like that. They actually believe that. He's like, I own a gun. I registered my gun. They just want to know where they're at, man, because that stops, gun violence. Well, hey, bro. Since you went ahead and registered your gun, let me know how it goes when they show up at your place to take him, because you went and told them exactly what weapon you had and your address and all that great stuff. Apparently, you don't believe in the Second Amendment because it says shall not be infringed, which I see a lot of people, they listen, I love the Second Amendment. Dude, I have the Bill of Rights hanging on my wall. You know what I'm saying? Look. Right here. I mean, this is a reminder. I like to remind myself of, this, like, the founders and what they wanted this country to be like, But, also, I have this flag because I'm an anarchist, okay? I don't believe in the legitimacy of authority. Alright? And I know you could say that these things kind of contradict each other, but not really. Not really. I mean, there's truth in the Bill of Rights. Whether or not that document exists, that is correct, everything that it says. It says that people cannot do these certain things because they're immoral. And the founders recognized that, well, they said that we're not granting you these rights, we're just recognizing that these exist in reality. So we're going to write them down on paper. A lot of people want to bring up the fact that because they have a right to keep and bear arms is because the Second Amendment says that they're allowed to, which is not true. If the Second Amendment didn't exist, you still have the right to do that. Okay? Government does not grant you rights, and other men cannot give you rights. Okay? Rights exist inherently in nature. You have a right and a wrong, and this is where natural law comes into play, because a lot of people don't know natural law, and if you don't, I highly suggest you look into Mark Passio's work. Look into Mark Passio and look at his natural law seminar. Just look into all of his work. I mean, he's probably one of the most influential people that have helped me wake up. I mean, I have like a whole list of people like that I've gotten into that have shared knowledge and helped me come to the realization of human slavery in our current situation in the world right now. But they've helped me realize, with me putting in the work, obviously, putting in really intense shadow work and doing a lot of reading, helped me realize objective morality. And once I understood that, and that's really what natural law is, it is truth, it is objective morality, it is moral law, okay? And government is moral relativism. That's why one thing can be illegal in this area, which means they're trying to say it's immoral in this geographical location. But over here in this state, it's okay to do it. It's insane. It's so insane that they can just make up whatever they want. They can just say and do whatever they want because they own you. They own you, and if you believe in authority and government, then you believe in the legitimacy of slavery, and you believe that other people have the right to dictate rules to other people. And that's just not true. See, it's your job to take personal responsibility of your life, which is why owning firearms is an important thing, because only you can defend your freedom, all right? You cannot expect someone else, some government, to fucking protect you. If you actually think that that is going to work, I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you. You're a weak person. You're a weak person, which is why people that don't have guns want to use the government to take our guns. It's like these people, it's so funny, like these people will bash Trump, right? And I don't care about any politician at all, and never will. No politician is ever gonna fucking make us free. They're involved in a coercive violent system, all right? But they'll demonize Trump and blame him for all this stuff, right? Yet Trump right now is the president of the government. So they want the government to have all the guns. They want the government to come take your guns, while at the same time trash Trump and say that he's a fascist and all this shit. So wait, so there's concentration camps in America. You're like AOC's trying to say, oh, our government has concentration camps. So Trump is a fascist and our government has concentration camps, and you want the government to have all the guns? What the fuck are you thinking, dude? Did you not think that thought through? Like, hey man, you gotta, and that's where a lot of this ignorance is coming from. They're not actually thinking through their beliefs and thinking about, okay, well, if I believe this thing, let me challenge this idea that I'm thinking. What are some of the hypothetical possible scenarios that could happen if I actually go through with this belief or go through with this thought? They don't do that. They just, the mainstream media says, this is reality, and then go, well, that's reality, and then they create chaos in the world and make the world a way more terrible place than it needs to be. So, the Bill of Rights is a great document. This flag is a great document. I mean, this represents a lot, okay? I don't have to be a statist in order to understand the truth that is involved in this flag right here, okay? It represents rebellion, you know? It represents freedom. It represents fighting against evil. You know, if you believe in government and you believe in the state and you want there to be a government, look at the Bill of Rights then. If you believe that document does grant you rights, then look at that document, dude. Look at it and actually read it, and then look around you. After you read that document, look around you and look at your government and look at what your government's doing to you. Look at all the amendments that the government is absolutely violating every day right in front of you. That right there should make you want to change as a person and try to wake other people up. Because, you know, like the guy that I was talking to at my work who thinks that the government just wants to know where your guns are at and they don't want to take them. You know, it's like, that's the guy that is going to wind up being a victim, okay? Because this is the dynamic that I see. I see a lot of people, they're kind of aware of what's going on, but it's not actually directly affecting them. You know what I mean? So they don't necessarily they don't feel a need to do anything about it because it's not directly interfering with their life yet, so they don't do anything about it. They're just like, oh yeah, that's bad, but like it's not happening to me, so what can I do about it? But see, here's the thing: every person that becomes a victim of tyranny, they always think that. So imagine this. Imagine, Joe Schmo over here sees, something happen to somebody else at work. Oh, that guy got his guns confiscated, Well, I guess it's happening, but, it can't happen to me, And these things get implemented on everyone, but see, each individual thinks the same thing. Each individual thinks they'll look at it happen to somebody else and say, oh, it can't happen to me, and then it happens to them. And then when the people go to the next individual and subjugate them, that person says, well, I saw it happen to him, but it can't happen to me, and then it happens to him. And that it just goes like that until everyone is enslaved. Because everyone thinks that it can't happen to them until it fucking happens to them. Once you see it start happening around you, then you need to say, okay, yep, time to wake up. Because if it can happen to that person, I'm also a person. So it can easily happen to me. So it's time to get prepared. If you guys aren't getting prepared, you're done, man. You're done. You're not going to be able to do anything. Okay, you're not going to be able to do anything. You're going to be running around asking that somebody else, save you. And that's the type of mentality that the government wants you to have. Because if crime and violence didn't exist, then there would be no point to have government. They don't want to fight crime. They don't want to, they don't want you to be free, because if you're free, you don't need the government. The government thrives off evil and chaos. That's what it does. It wants there to be crime. That's why it always makes laws. It's continuously making laws. Policies, I should say. They continuously make policies that create more crime. Because they're an institution that has the moral right to initiate force. And you don't have the right to initiate force against people, but they claim to have that right. So when they make a law or whatever, then that means that, if you do this, then we have the right to initiate violence against you and take away your freedom. How is that going to solve anything? So it's like, we want to fix this social problem, so let's just threaten everyone with violence. Is that how you deal with issues in your personal life? Do you use coercion and theft to get what you want? If we don't do these types of behaviors in our personal life, how do we think that it's going to be able to branch out, into a larger dynamic and think that you can somehow solve social problems using government violence and coercion? It's not going to work. You can't use an immoral behavior and create you can't use an immoral behavior and create a moral effect. Okay? You can't take bad behavior and then expect a good outcome from that. It's not going to happen. That's not how natural law works. That's why you need to operate under moral law, morality, because when you initiate a good behavior that's moral, nature, the universe, gives you back a positive effect. Okay? And sometimes it's delayed. It's not like, it's not like when you do something bad that an anvil immediately falls on your head. But look, if you build up enough bad behaviors, you're gonna feel those effects, man. You're gonna feel that. The universe is gonna bring you despair and agony and more terrible situations that you're gonna have to deal with until you wake up and start doing the right thing. That's what changing your life is all about, is becoming more of a moral person and not violating other people's rights in order to have a good life and a truly free society. And that's not what we have right now, because people are wanting government to fix social problems, and the only thing government can do is initiate violence against people through legislation, and then having cops violently impose the politician's will on people by using intimidation and coercion, and funding that whole situation through stealing your money through taxation. So everything that they do is immoral. When you get down to the root of it, they solve all their problems through violence, coercion, and theft. That's it. They steal money from you, then they make laws, and then they enforce those opinions through coercion and violence. That's never going to solve anything. Like, these mass shooters, obviously there's psychological issue going on. I'm not a psychologist, but I could definitely tell you that it's probably the public education system, and there's a lot of institutions and structures, societal structures that we have that are creating like a structural violence, in a sense where you're having a certain amount of duress always being brought down on you. And that's why we're in a state of covert slavery. We're not like hooked to a ball and chain and getting whipped slavery, but it's covert. You have the illusion that you are free, but you have to get permission from the government to do anything. And when you have something, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but when you have something, when you have a right to defend yourself and a right to protect your family, by owning a weapon, if you have to get a permission slip like a CPL or anything like that, or a background check, that's an infringement. That's an infringement. And all these things, okay, are punishable by violence. If you don't get the slip permission, then the government thinks that they have the right to initiate violence against you. It's not going to stop people from doing it. Back when they implemented background checks and all this stuff, they made the claim that that was going to stop gun violence and that was going to stop crime. Well, look, it hasn't done it. It hasn't done it, and it will never do it. They'll just continue to infringe on that until we have no guns, and then they can bring their guns in and take over. The government is not your friend, okay? The government is not your friend. It's not your mommy and it's not your daddy. So quit trying to cry to them to have them fix your life for you. You need to take responsibility for your own life. That's the only way that we're actually going to be able to be free. You need to understand morality and understand natural law. That's the only way that we're actually going to be able to have a free society. Mainstream media is not telling you the truth at all, okay? We're not going to get free energy until we realize that government is slavery, because as long as we continue to believe that this current establishment, this current government that we have is somehow going to change and is going to, if we just get the right people in there and whatever, if you actually think that it's fixable, and you keep trying to get free energy implemented in the world, government's going to continue to stop you from being able to do that because they have a monopoly on oil, okay? And energy, if you control the energy, then you pretty much control an entire society. If you control the energy consumption and the food and what types of energy that they're allowed to use, well, that's why so many of these people who have created alternative energy have been absolutely murdered. Anything that comes out that could spread truth or freedom, they immediately stop that. That person winds up dying because they want control over us. And if you can't realize that and figure that out, you need to grow up, man. You need to grow up and you need to realize what's really going on in the world. You may not do something bad to somebody else, but guess what? These people will. These people will. Alright? So, hold on to your guns. Don't give them up. You don't want to be a slave. You don't want to be any more enslaved than we already are. And you don't want that for your children either. Alright? This physical world, I believe, is going to be a reflection of whatever world we might live in after this. And I'm not into religion, but I understand that energy can change form, but it cannot be absolutely destroyed. Alright? And we are very unique beings. And this world that we're living on right now is alive. Okay? It's alive. We are connected to it. Everything is interconnected. Good and evil exist. Right and wrong exist. Just right there tells me that there is something to this world. And there is a purpose. There is something that needs to be done because good and evil do exist. And if good and evil exists, then that means right and wrong exists, and that means you need to do the right thing, because if not, and you do the wrong thing, natural law or the universe or God or whatever you want to believe in is going to punish you for doing that, for acting immorally. You know, and you want your consciousness to evolve and grow. You don't want it to dwindle and stay down and stay locked down into an ignorant mindset. Okay? So I need to understand truth, and you need to understand morality, because that's going to be the only thing that's going to create freedom in this world. And if you care about freedom, then you need to understand natural law, and you need to understand the objective difference between right and wrong. Okay? And you need to respect other people's rights, no matter how scared you are. Okay? I don't care if you're scared of a gun. That doesn't mean that you get to take my right away because you're a pussy. Okay? And because you want the government to protect you, you want somebody else to protect you, and you don't want to take personal responsibility for your life and protect yourself because you're a fucking coward. That doesn't make it okay for you to try to disarm me. That's a red flag, man. You're trying to disarm somebody, you know, anyone who wants to disarm you, you do not trust them at all. Because if they didn't want to harm you or control you in some way, then they would let you have your gun. They would say, yeah, go ahead and keep your gun. I'm not going to do anything to you. You know, I have no reason to try to do anything to you, so I know you're not going to try to use that gun against me, so, you know, I'm not going to try to do that. The only way they would want to disarm you is to control you, because they can't come control you when you have guns, when you have a way to actually protect yourself. You know, that doesn't work out very well for them. They want a totally subservient population that's coddled and neutered. Good luck with that, man. There's a lot of Americans that aren't going to buy that. And they may not be fully awake, but some of them are starting to wake up. I mean, the vast majority are still ignorant, but I can see people waking up. It wasn't like this really before. And everyone has their own opinion on that. You know, that is what it is. Everyone's going to always have their own opinion, you know, about certain dynamics, but, you know, this is just a little rant. I really care about freedom, okay? I really care about freedom, and I care about truth, and I care about morality, and I do not want us to have to suffer anymore. I want us to be free. I want to be free. And we're not going to be able to achieve that through government. Because you cannot ask another man for permission for you to be free. It's not how freedom works. You don't ask for permission to be free. You be it yourself. No other man has the right to rule you or tell you what to do, especially if you understand natural law and you know what is right. So it's our job to align ourselves with that. Alright, guys? Stay armed. and stay free. Later.